The alchemy of daily living. To understand a philosophy is one thing, to live it is another. James Allen's As a Man Thinketh is not a book meant for passive contemplation, but a forge where ideas are hammered into action. Its truths are universal, yet their power lies in personal application. How, then, does one take these principles grand as cosmic laws, subtle as whispered wisdom, and weave them into the fabric of everyday existence? The discipline of mental sovereignty, the first and most vital practice, is the cultivation of awareness, conscious observation of one's own thoughts. Most people move through life as though their minds were open fields, where any passing wind may sow seeds at random. Allen's philosophy demands something far more deliberate, the stance of a watchful gardener, discerning which seeds are allowed to take root. This begins with a simple but profound habit: pause and question. When frustration arises in traffic, when anxiety whispers before a meeting, when envy flickers at another's success, these are the moments to intervene, not with suppression, but with inquiry. Does this thought serve me? Does it align with the life I wish to create? The answer determines whether the thought is nurtured or released. Modern psychology calls this cognitive reframing. The Stoics termed it the discipline of assent. Allen, stripped of jargon, would simply say, master your thoughts, and you master your world. The ritual of constructive thinking. A mind left to its own devices drifts toward the familiar, even when the familiar is harmful. Just as a neglected garden defaults to weeds, the untended mind reverts to ingrained patterns of worry, doubt, or cynicism. To counter this, Allen implies the necessity of ritualized thoughts, structured moments where the mind is deliberately steered toward constructive channels. This could take many forms: morning intention setting, before the day's demands intrude. Dedicate 5 minutes to visualizing the mindset you wish to embody. Not vague affirmations, but vivid mental rehearsals, seeing yourself responding with patience, acting with courage, creating with focus. Evening reflection. Review the day not through the lens of events, but through the quality of your thinking. Where did your thoughts elevate you? Where did they pull you into unnecessary strife? Guided mental fasting. Periodically impose a moratorium on a specific type of thought complaint, for instance, or self-doubt. Like fasting for the body, this sharpens the mind's resilience. These are not mere exercises. They are acts of mental architecture, reshaping the inner landscape brick by brick. The alchemy of adversity. Allen does not promise a life without hardship. He promises agency in how hardship is met. Consider 2 real-world scenarios. Professional setback. An employee is passed over for promotion. The untrained mind spirals into resentment. My boss doesn't value me, or defeat. I'll never advance. The disciplined mind asks, what can I learn here? It examines skills to improve, networks to strengthen, or even the possibility that a different path may align better with purpose. Personal conflict. A friendship fractures. The reactive mind fixates on blame. They betrayed me. The intentional mind considers, what role did my expectations play? How can I grow from this? It does not deny pain, but refuses to let pain dictate the narrative. In both cases, the external event is the same. The difference lies in the internal processing. This is not positive thinking, it is strategic thinking. The recognition that every challenge is raw material for refinement. The ecology of influence. Just as a body is shaped by the food it consumes, a mind is shaped by what it absorbs. Alan's principle extends beyond solitary thought to the environments we cultivate, inputs, matter, the books read, the conversations engaged in, the media consumed. These are the nutrients of the mind. A diet of sensationalism and negativity breeds a chaotic inner world. Curating inputs with the same care as one's meals is not elitism. It is self-preservation. Associations reverberate. The 5 people closest to you, the saying goes, shape your reality. Alan would add, because they shape your thinking. Surrounding oneself with chronic complainers is like living in a room where the air is slowly poisoned. Seeking out those whose minds inspire, that is oxygen for the soul. This is not a call to insulate oneself from all discord, but to recognize that influence is not passive, it is a choice, repeated daily. The practice of mental hygiene. Hygiene is non-negotiable for health. Mental hygiene is equally vital, yet often ignored. Alan's work suggests several cleansing practices. The 24-hour rule. When a negative event occurs, grant yourself a day to feel the emotion fully, then deliberately shift focus to solution or lesson. This prevents stagnation in resentment. Thought replacement. For every destructive thought, I can't handle this, consciously substitute its constructive counterpart. I will handle this step by step. The mind, like nature, a vacuum it will fill with something. Better to plant the seeds yourself. Gratitude as counterweight. In moments of lack, list 3 things already present. This is not denial of struggle, but recalibration of perspective, way to anchor the mind in abundance rather than scarcity. The long game of character. Alan, as most profound implication is that thoughts compound into destiny, just as daily savings grow into wealth through interest, so to do habitual thoughts solidify into character, and character inevitably manifests as circumstance. Consider the real-world implications. The student who thinks I am a learner will over years amass knowledge where others stagnate. The entrepreneur who thinks obstacles are navigable will persist where others surrender, turning setbacks into stepping stones. The parent who thinks patience is a practice will model emotional resilience for their children, altering generational patterns. This is the silent, cumulative power of mental discipline. It builds lives not through grand gestures, but through the quiet repetition of constructive thought. The invitation to action. Theory without practice is dead wisdom. To truly integrate Alan's teachings, start small. Select one area where thoughts tend to spiral: worry, self-criticism, comparison. For 1 week, apply focused intervention using the tools above. Measure shifts. Keep a brief journal noting how altered thinking changes emotional responses and outcomes. Expand the practice. Gradually apply the same principles to other mental patterns. The goal is not perfection, but progression, the gradual alignment of thought with intention and intention with reality.